Hi everybody. Whoops. Today we're going to talk about the example essay. I know you've already discussed it, but I want to walk through it carefully with you and point out some important elements. First, you probably see right off that the MLA format is correct. Though this is a PDF, you can still see we'd have last name and page number here, student name, my name, English 120, and then the date here in kind of military style, date, month, year. This, as you know, is an essay comparing Edward Scissorhands with the hero myth. And I've actually never seen Edward Scissorhands, so it's interesting and great for me to grade it and talk to you about it without my own knowledge of the movie, just what's presented here. And remember, this is an example of a very strong essay, so I'm really going to be pointing out what it does well. First, there is a title that is unique and relevant, and we have the correct capitalization as well. It's centered. Notice there's no extra space here, it just immediately begins. And the first and last word capitalized and major words in between. For this first paragraph, I'm going to read it and then talk about it. Being different from everyone else can lead to a difficult life. Many who feel like they don't fit in with the world around them go through an exploration in their life to find the few that accept them and to learn to deal with the many who don't. Linda Seeger, a screenwriting coach, refers to this journey as the hero myth and goes into describing its stages in her article, Creating the Myth. Edward, from the movie Edward Scissorhands, goes through his own exploration to learn to deal with the difference he has from those around him. Edward's journey follows the stages of the hero myth with only a few minor changes. This is a very concise introduction, but it is effective. There's a hook, and I'm sure some of you debated how catchy it is, but still there's a hook, an attempt to catch the reader's interest. And then this is also well organized. We know we need a hook and then a bridge and our thesis statement. And in the bridge for Essay 2, you have the challenge of introducing Linda Seeger, her article, and the concept of the hero myth, all before you get to your thesis. That's kind of a lot to do, and this essay does it pretty well. Also, the thesis is here where it belongs at the end of the introductory paragraph. And it clearly answers the essay question, which is how closely does your hero's journey follow the hero myth? Let's look at the first body paragraph. We've got a clear topic sentence. The first of hero myth stages is the hero's introduction. If you remember in my lecture, I talk about how the best way to structure this paper is by having a topic sentence that identifies the stage or stages, plural, that you will be discussing. You don't announce this by saying, I will discuss this, but that is what the topic sentence should identify. The next part of the essay should summarize what Seeger says about that phase of the hero myth by quoting or paraphrasing. Because this is a compare and contrast essay, if you think about it. You're comparing and contrasting your movie with Seeger's explanation of the hero myth. So look at how this writer does that. She tells us what Seeger says about the hero's introduction, cited properly. We get her name in the setup, quotation marks, and page number. And then we get the the comparison to Edward's journey. And we learn how we meet him. But what's really important, this paragraph is not just plot summary, there's analysis. So first, she describes Edward's introduction. We meet him and he's in this abandoned castle, he's young, he's hiding, and he has scissors for hands. It's crucial that the writer doesn't just stop there, because if she stopped there, she'd be leaving it up to us to connect the dots and understand how this introduction of Edward parallels what Seeger says. Instead, what we have is this very strong analysis. And that's where the writer tells us how closely Edward's journey follows the hero myth. She says that the scene corresponds because we meet him in his everyday life, and maybe his perspective isn't normal, but he's childlike and matches with what Seeger says. So I hope you can see here, this is the analytical part of the paragraph. The next paragraph, and they all follow the same pattern. We get the topic sentence. The pole that begins a hero's journey is referred to as the catalyst. Then we get a summary of what Seeger says about it. If you notice here, this is a paraphrase. The writer has used her own words completely, but because it's not her idea, she cites Seeger. And she has Seeger's name here in parentheses with the page number because she chose not to use it here at the beginning. Instead of saying according to Seeger or something like that, she did a complete paraphrase and just put the last name and page number here. The last name only goes in here with the page number if it is not used here, which normally it is. Okay, again, we get the pattern of the topic sentence, what Seeger says, the description of what happens to Edward, and then the analysis. This is a perfect example of a hero myth catalyst because Edward is put in a situation he's never encountered before that leads him to begin his voyage of venturing out into the world for the first time. Then we have the beginnings of a transition to the next paragraph. She says, at least on his voyage, Edward will not be completely alone. And then we move into a paragraph that talks about the hero's helpers. So hopefully you're seeing this pattern emerge of topic sentence, quoting or paraphrasing Seeger, describing what happens in the movie, and then comparing back and analyzing the hero myth. Then we get another good transition here, the end of this paragraph to the beginning of this one. Even though having help allows the hero to reach his goal, it must be the hero that goes through confrontation. And then see how the word confrontation has been mirrored here? That's our transition. The confrontation that heroes must encounter on their journey are the tests and obstacles. And then we get a quote from Seeger, name, words that we took in quotation marks, page number, and period. Kind of keep going. All paragraphs follow the same pattern that I've described, but let's take a look at the conclusion. It's concise. The point of any hero's journey is for the hero to travel through the hero myth stages and come out the other side a changed person. The goal is to become a little wiser, a little stronger, and a little more complete. Other than some small alterations, Edward's travels mirror the hero myth stages and lead him on a journey to discover how to live in a world where he's different from everyone else. Edward learns that even though he's different and treated like a monster by many, he can still be loved and love another. This is a really nice conclusion. It's to the point. It doesn't repeat each topic sentence. That would be really list-like and cumbersome. Instead, the thesis is restated, which is important. And then the writer also refers back to the hook, that idea of feeling different. So it's a successful conclusion that provides closure. And to format it correctly, we notice it's good 3.5 pages with a correct works cited page. When you make your works cited page, you can follow and put exactly what she has here, and then look up how to cite a movie and plug in the information for your film. This is all covered in comp class, how to do a works cited page, and in the Bedford Researcher book. And remember, you got to alphabetize as well. So we have E and S. So if your movie starts with something after this, it would go down here. And you never alphabetize by the T and the. You always go with the next word. So be sure that you get at least 3 full pages. You really can't adequately deal with this topic without 3 full pages. And if you find yourself going much over 4, you may be doing too much plot summary. That's a common pitfall of this assignment, is just summarizing what happens in the movie. Your job is not to fill in the reader on everything that happens. Your job is to prove to the reader that this is a hero myth movie and show that it closely follows the hero myth by discussing the 6 phases that are outlined for you on the essay prompt. So I hope you found this example essay helpful. It's not the only way to approach the assignment. It's not perfect. Certainly, nothing is, but it's a really strong example of an A-level paper, an A-level response to this assignment.